So greetings, everyone. I'm Richard Taylor, as you know, and I'm coming to you with this story uh, from a concerned mother. As you see the caption, Josh Keating was found uh, allegedly hanging February 22nd last year, and his death was originally ruled a suicide. But information that has been provided to the mother since then leads her to believe that his death was definitely not a suicide and a possible murder, uh, in which has been covered up by the Wayne County Sheriff Department. Now, considering the climate that we are now in, with certain deputies getting arrested, certain deputies getting investigated, I think we have to take her concerns literally or seriously, because as we see that there's definitely corruption in the Wayne County Sheriff Department. Nevertheless, I'm going to just get back into the story. Once again, Josh Keating was a 34-year-old veteran. He was found hanging in the Grantham area of Wayne County on February the 22nd of last year. Now, admittedly, uh, the mother said that Josh was a war veteran, Iraq veteran, and came back, and he was never the same. And he fell into the drug scene, which a lot of our veterans do. And being someone who has struggled with addiction myself in life, I definitely don't pass judgment. I realize that it is a sickness, and it's something very, very hard to overcome at times. Nevertheless, Josh hung out with the drug crowd, and she actually called them the Grantham crowd. But he was found on the 22nd. His body was buried on the 25th, and the detectives originally ruled it as a suicide. And the parents didn't think anything of it. They buried his body. Then after a few days after that, actually she said the same day, people start reaching out to her and giving her information that led her believe that his death was not a suicide. So now his property was found his body was found on the property of a one Bradley out there in Grantham. Now this Bradley is purported or allegedly, and I'm going to be using allegedly a lot because once again I'm getting this third party information through conversations, texts, documents. She sent me a whole bunch of information, and she's pretty much been investigating this situation so much that the Wayne County Sheriff Department told her not to contact them any longer. Now, if this lady has all this information with testimonies and conflicting stories of the people who were there or found the body, why would the detectives who are supposed to tell the truth negating or neglecting to follow her leads? Nevertheless, this Bradley is purported to be an informant for Wayne County Sheriff Detective Mohauser. She said that he runs stolen goods for him and things of that nature. So once again, considering the current climate, we can't put that past him. Nevertheless, several individuals started coming forth. One individual by the name of Ashley, which was the wife or the ex-wife of one of the people who found the body. Now, the body was allegedly found by three people: a Brad, a Rita, and a Sabrina. Now, these people just so happened to be walking on the property of the other Bradley and found the body. And when they found the body, they reportedly or allegedly went back into the house, told the owner of the property that the body was there, and Brad, the one who found the body, and he has been reaching out to the mother. He said that when they found the body, quote unquote, found the body, that they were discussing putting the body in a hog box or a freezer. And now, so if it was a suicide, why would you be trying to hide the body or figure out what to do with the body? But that's another part of the story that we'll get into later. But the three people who found the body um, actually left before the police came. So when the police came, or the detectives, and actually she said Detective Mohauser was the one on the scene. He was the only one that came, if I'm not mistaken. The three people left, and it was just Detective Mohauser, Bradley, the one who lives there, and another young lady named Miranda. Now, Miranda comes in the story because she was Josh's purported girlfriend at the time. However, because of the nature of all of these individuals being involved with drugs, she was staying at Bradley's house, as well as Josh and some other people, and she was allegedly or reportedly sleeping with Josh, Bradley, and another guy, I think. And so, um, the story goes that around the 12th or the 13th or the 14th, excuse me, on Valentine's Day, uh, which was, 9 days before his body was found, there was a big fight. And during that fight, Bradley and Josh were fighting, and another individual, I think they said his name was Scott. And once again, all of this is alleged. So I'm getting this information third parties, and I'm going to read some of the conversations just to give you an idea of what the mother has been communicating with these individuals. She's talked to Brad, she's talked to Rita, she's talked to Ashley, and she's talked to Miranda. Now, Ashley is the ex-wife of Brad, the one who purportedly found the body, but also Brad is the one who's been giving most of the conversations to Josh's mother. But nevertheless, there was a fight, and they said that, during the fight, Josh was struck in the head and he died dead around the 14th, because his mother said she hadn't heard from him until the 13th. And in hindsight, because through the conversation that you're gonna hear me read, allegedly Josh was put in a freezer and froze until they allegedly staged a hanging on the property. And the reason we say that is because when the coroner report or the autopsy report did came back, the body or the body temperature was checked warm. And also, the detectives put out the narrative that the body had been hanging in those woods for 9 days. But there was no decomposition. There was no animal bites or anything like that. And the body was still warm. So that just contradicts the narrative that he had been hanging for 9 days. And so, Brad, starts reaching out to the mother, as well as Ashley, who was his ex-wife, as well as Miranda, who is the purported girlfriend of Josh at the time of his death, and as well as Rita. All of these people are reaching out to the mother and telling them their versions of what really happened. And I'm going to read some of those to you. And here's one where Brad, the one who quote unquote found the body with Rita, is talking to Josh's mother. Brad said Bradley has been sitting right there reading the passage, and he's talking about Bradley, whom the house is owned by, is what made me realize that Josh's knife was beside the Bible. And Rita was saying, Bradley, we need to get rid of these nooses. Why are there so many pocket knives? And they were being used to cut the nooses. So, which pretty much means that they are saying that there were pocket knives and nooses laying around, in which, of course, Josh supposedly hung himself with the noose. And then Bradley once again says, yes, Rita came to me and said that Bradley was talking about maybe putting him in a dead box. And then he said, no, ma'am, you said it's suicide. So why is he wanting to cover it up? Call the law. So now this is them discussing what to do with the body after they quote unquote found the body, which is also strange to me because it almost seems like everybody's involved. And then they leave before the police come. Now, there's also Facebook posts between Brad and his ex-wife Ashley and Rita, and they're saying, what you have already gotten us into enough mess. I'm not getting involved in anything else. Now, this is of course after the body was found and the body was buried. Now, here's a text that he's communicating with the mother. Said, I just hope I don't get dragged into more stuff. I didn't have nothing to do with it. I'm really a good person, raised all three of my kids alone until I married Ashley. I had a very good name for myself in a thriving business and corruption. Now, once again, to me, and that's just my opinion, this sounds like someone who may be guilty. And this is a recording. I'm going to play this to you. Now, this is from Miranda, the girl who was present when the body was found and was actually Josh's girlfriend. I hope you guys can hear this.
Was it smashed? Yeah, his screen was cracked. The whole smashed in real bad. That you couldn't even, I mean, not like a crack, I'm talking, it was smashed in here and it was just like every crack everywhere. And you could not see in it. That's how his phone was. How was it? Do you remember?
I remember. Okay, let's say this is John's phone. He had that tape on the back of his phone, that camouflage tape, and he had maybe some red writing, like maybe my initials or his initials, something like that. Okay, the front of his phone, that was smashed good, but it was like, he still used it. He could still see everything on it, plain as day. He still used it. I know it had some cracks going on up here and some down here, but it was still where you could read, see, do.
But it wasn't smashed in the middle and it was just totally smashed in.
No.
You could
still
not.
swipe it. You could still see and do everything.
No, his phone, when we got it from the police, you could not even see in the phone. It was so smashed.
No, ma'am.
We went and replaced the,
No, ma'am. No, you didn't have to. I'm telling you, you didn't have to do that. Otherwise, why would he be carrying it around if you can't see on it?
When was the last time?
Why would I call a phone or
When
try
was
to
the last
message a
time?
phone I knew he couldn't see on?
When was the last time you seen his phone?
That night it was in his hand. He had his phone on him.
So that's Miranda once again saying that he had this phone. Now, this is the girl Rita talking. Now, Rita is one of the people who found the body. Now, I'm going to let you hear this because she pretty much tells the story.
I mean, whenever I won't even stay around them. If I come up somewhere that they are, I leave. Because what the hell do I look like being around people that may or may not have had something to do with Josh?
Yeah. Do you think they did?
Yes. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll tell you exactly what I think happened. I think Josh was gone for a few days, 4 or 5 days. When he came back, him and Brad got in an argument. I feel like Brad probably did choke him out. They freaked out. He hit Brad in his mind, he already threatened to do this and this. Miranda, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like they staged it. That is from the bottom of my heart.
You think they staged suicide? You think they had him in a freezer?
I don't know why they would have to, though, if it happened. Because from what I understand, that's exactly what happened, what I just told you. From what I understand, that's exactly what happened. That Josh came home, and they were all together. Josh came home, and, him and Brad had words, whatever. Brad choked him till he was lifeless, and then freaked out, and, it was like, oh my God, he's dead. And they staged it like,
You know his
And so that is the girl Rita. Rita, once again, is the one who purportedly found the body. And she also has a statement. I'm trying to find it here. Here it goes. Now, Rita says, and this is her talking to Josh's mother. Rita said his nose had a white powder coming out of it. That's what struck me wrong, because I walked up to him and I was going to cut him down, because what else would anybody do? But nobody would let me. His toes were on the ground, but he had not been there for long. I know for a fact because he would have been stinky and swollen up. I've seen a dead body before, and it was not in the condition. His fingers still had blood vessels coming from them, and so did his eyes. And then she said, I heard some SHIT about they put him in a freezer over at Bradley's grandma's. I really was not around there at that time frame. Now, once again, this is, and I've ran in those circles. So when something like this happened, people talk. And once again, all of this is alleged. I'm just a messenger. So this is the information that she provided me from the people who has been reaching out to her. And also Bradley, the guy who everybody in this circle is trying to say committed the act that caused his death. They actually talked, and she sent me the message of him, and he's not sounding like somebody who has lost his friend. He's cussing her. He's threatening her. He says, I've already been cleared by Moheiser. You can he sent her a profanity laden 2 long paragraphs of just, you can't see it here. That light's in the way. But nevertheless, he just went on and on and on and on about, how he, is just, I don't know, like he, it doesn't seem like someone who's contrite. If my friend's mother reached out to me asking about his death, I would no way talk to her like this. But nevertheless, I'm different. But when Miss Josh's mother, when she brought all this information to the sheriff, the detectives, once again, they just continued to say it was a suicide, and they had no explanation on how his body could be been out there 9 days and still be fully intact. Also, once again, I told you that Bradley, the guy whose house the body was found at, was purportedly an informant for Detective Moheiser, who was the officer at the scene. And she also tells me that Brad, who found him, Rita, who found him, and the other girl was never questioned by the detective. In what era, in what lifetime do you hear of that happening? And so that also raises a red flag. But also, she showed me a Facebook post where Josh was actually calling out Bradley and Brad for quote unquote partying with Schaefer. Now, if you saw my previous video from a week ago, Deputy Schaefer is the one whose house was raided by the FBI, and he's under investigation, as well as some other deputies. So this all kind of ties in together. With some unscrupulous or unsavory actions that may be, and once again, may be alleged by the Wayne County Sheriff Department. And there's so much that she sent me to this, but the main thing that I see from this is people like Brad, who purportedly found the body, people like Rita, people like Ashley, people like Miranda, who were quote unquote not around. They have the same story, that there was a fight, Josh was killed during the fight, and then there was a scramble for about a week and a half to figure out what to do with this body, whether it's putting him in the hall box, whether it's, freezing him, whatever it is. It lasted for about 9 days. Now, all of them, even though they say they don't know anything about what happened, they know what happened from the time that Josh died, which was on the 14th during the fight, and the time that the body was found. They kind of know too much about conversations, about debates about putting the body in the freezer, debates about, put him in the hog box. All of these things, they know too much about. They all have the same story about what was done, but nobody was there. So that leaves me, that leaves some room for suspicion that, maybe everybody was there, and everybody is kind of covering up for each other. Here's a message from Rita to the mother. He said, I don't know exactly what day the fight went down. I just know that they got into a fight. I told you I wasn't hanging around there at the time. Remember, I never wrote a statement and never talked to anybody. And I was scared to reach out to talk to anybody because I did not want to get in trouble for whatever they were doing, because I had no part in it. I just found it. So that gives you the inclination that Rita knew that something else happened. And here's Brad, the other guy who found the body, talking to, again, the mother as well, and said, I told her everything in case my memory slipped, because I didn't think I should just go down there like it did. He said, I didn't think it should just go down like it did. It won't right. They didn't talk to me or want to. That means the police. He said, Bradley is an informant for them. They trying to save him because he does a lot of stolen good returns for them. Mo Heiser is over stolen goods. Also, some kind of kin to Rita. Goldsboro PD is corrupt. So this is Bradley giving the mother all of this information about the inside track of possible police involvement. And here is Ashley, who is the wife or ex-wife of Brad, purportedly the one who found the body. Now, she is talking to Brad, saying, my truck is not to be used to cart filth around and drive all around dead bodies. It's sure as hell not a taxi to any hog box thoughts that maybe joke about. I will not go to the magistrate to hear them tell me any more BS, and they say they can't do anything to then arrest me. So this is her talking to Brad, saying my car is not going to be used to be transporting any dead bodies. So, and that is pretty telling. That is pretty telling right there. She just sent me so much. Here's Bradley talking to Ashley, which is his wife, saying, you're posting stuff to put yourself in danger and posting how much you care about your dog. So I guess all of them were kind of posting stuff. And also there was a girl 3 days after Josh's death who got a tattoo of a noose on her arm, and with it saying no way out. Now, this tattoo was given by Bradley and his brother, reportedly, once again, and let me keep saying reportedly or allegedly. Um, and here is Brad actually talking to Josh's mother, saying Bradley told me and Rita 3 days after that day he had to break up Scott and hit Josh one time and he fell dead. I saw blood on the corner of the table in the living room. That's about the extent of what I know. I wish I had recorded Bradley telling us. Now, this is Brad telling Josh's mother pretty much Bradley confessed to hitting Josh and him falling dead. Now, once again, these are all messages that were sent to me of conversations that the mother had with the reported person who found the body. Now, once again, if you find a body, there's no way that you have all of this information and you just happen to walk up on the body. I don't know if this sounds strange to anyone else but me, but it does. So this woman has done all this investigation. She's talked with the DA. She's talked with, the sheriff department. And once again, the sheriff department said, look, don't contact us anymore. If you want to contact us, you're going to have to go through our lawyer, which is very telling as well. Because once again, if she's got all of this information about all of these players that were around her son's death, and all of these different players have a similar story that is suspicious, if not yet corroborates the fact that there's no way that his body was hanging in the wood for 9 days with no decomposition. But then they all of a sudden find him, but then everybody has this story about Bradley talking about putting him in a hog box or putting him in a freezer. And then they just all of a sudden find them. I find this to be quite strange, to be quite suspicious myself. And once again, concerning what we have seen from the Goldsboro Police Department and the Wayne County Sheriff Department with all of these recent arrests, but not only recent, because I have documented this. This is called Blue Lights in My Review. This is my latest book written in 2021 that details a lot of the corruption that I've been witness to, that I've been privy to against myself and against others in this community. And so this is not something that I'm just coming abreast of. I've lived this. I've done drugs with sheriff officers. I've sold drugs to police officers in the past. I've used drugs with police officers, lawyers, DAs. So these people are not above reproach, and they're not above, anything that is illegal, as we see now. So I just wanted to help Josh's mother bring some light to the situation. Once again, all of these things are alleged. Once again, and I'm just reading from messages that were sent to me. So I'm not accusing anyone. I am just reporting the story as it was given to me. So if any of the names that I've mentioned want to come and clarify or speak to me, my number is 919-587-7782. I am just trying to help a mother get to the bottom of her son's death. And I'm sure that if this was to happen to you or your family member, I would be sure that you would want someone to do the same thing. But there's a lot of inconsistencies, and we just scratched the surface. Might come back if there's any information that she sends me, anything that I missed that she wants me to talk about. I might come back. But this is very disturbing because, we have a young man whose family loved him and who was unfortunately caught up in a cycle of addiction that lost his life. And there's been several people to come about and say, no, that's not how he lost his life. And I think it's a form of guilt. Maybe I think one of the texts she sent me, Brad, was talking about Josh is messing with me. I can feel his presence. You know, he's tormenting me and things like that. So that doesn't happen if you don't have some sort of culpability or some sort of guilt complex, and you may know more than what you're letting go on. But of course, you know, everybody wants to protect themselves now. But I hope this once again brings some light to the situation. I hope maybe, you know, somebody might investigate this more to once again bring light. But this lady reached out to me for the past 3 days. She just be sending me messages and documents, and you've heard some of the recording, some of the players right there in the story who have information and who have different versions of a hanging. So that is my report of this story. Once again, there's so much more, but I told her, I said I can't sit and just go over every detail and expect, you know, not to get lost, because even I'm still sort of lost in the whole situation. I can't, you know, put the timelines together from when he reportedly died on the 14th to the body was found, and all of the conversations in between, whether they were before the body was found, whether they after the body was found, whether they when the body was found. But what we know, the body was found and supposedly be hanging for 9 days, but it has no decomposition or anything like that. And the sheriff just comes, the deputy just comes and rules it a suicide, and he has ties to the gentleman whose property that the body was found on, and also Detective Schaefer, who's under investigation as well, has ties to the Ashley girl. She was supposed to be an informant of his. So there's so many layers to the story, but once again, all of this is alleged on my part because I'm just reporting the story as it was given to me. If anybody has any insight, feel free to reach out so I can clarify it if I said anything wrong. But I'm just going off what was sent to me and what the mother believes happened to her son. And as we know, that there's nothing like a mother's intuition when it comes to this. And once again, I have my own experiences with police corruption in this book, Blue Lights in My Real. This is not a promotion of the book. This is just letting you know that I have documented information as well about police corruption, police murder, police setting people up, police just being involved in all types of unscrupulous activities. Once again, this is Richard Taylor. Hope this video has been informative, and I hope this brings some light. If anybody wants to clarify anything that I may have said, please feel free to reach out. Peace and blessings.